Hello and welcome to Adventures in Venueland, an EVMC podcast. Join us for this all-access pass backstage and behind the scenes with some of the brightest minds that cross the scope of the live event industry. I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. We'll introduce you to incredible guests who journey with us as we dive deep into the world of venues, tours, festivals, and everything in between. Grab your laminate and meet us in Venueland.
Greetings and welcome to our. I can't even do it, Paul. But this is it. We look forward to this every year.
You try this every year and it fails.
It's our Halloween episode, yes, of Adventures in Venueland, an EVMC podcast.
The spooky episode.
It's super spooky. Hey, I'm Dave Rettelberger, and along with my co-host Paul Hooper, today's episode is a little bit different. It's a detour side trip, an episode. We've done these for the past few years, talking about some great spooky things in the live entertainment industry, and we've got a great guest today as we take our adventures down to Austin. Paul, would you be so kind as to introduce our guest?
Absolutely. We are joined by Javier Ramirez, and he is the director of marketing at Paramount and State Theaters in Austin, Texas, and also over the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. And so he's kind of going to tell us a little bit about a fun series they put on at the Paramount called Panic at the Paramount. Sounds very exciting and spooky in just the name, as well as maybe some ghostly tales that they've had in the theaters, as all theaters have, right? All the fun stuff and previous workers and hauntings and chains rattling in the night. So welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us, and thanks for reaching out and telling us about the cool things you have down there in Austin.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What an honor as a fellow spooky boy myself that I get to do this special Halloween episode. What a treat.
Oh yeah.
Well, Javier, before we get into the Panic at the Paramount, tell us a little bit about the Paramount and the State Theaters and the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. What you kind of are doing down there in Austin?
Yeah, very busy. The Paramount is our kind of big shiny theater, as I like to call it, in town. It's 110. We actually just celebrated our 110-year-old birthday this Saturday, and we've had a lot of things going on, as you can imagine. We've seen the Spanish flu and COVID and all of it, but we're kind of back to our original glory now, and a lot of stuff happening. And then we have our State Theater next door, which was built in the 50s. Going on about our 300-seater, our Paramount being our 1275, and now Moon Tower, which is also produced by the Paramount Homegrown Festival, is now the largest yearly comedy festival in North America.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff going on, but exciting times over here for sure.
Well, I know, it's spooky season, so we want to talk about Panic at the Paramount. How did this get started? And for folks who've never heard about it, tell us what it is.
Yeah, so I'll start kind of from the beginning of the Paramount has a very rich film history, and I think Austin right now is kind of booming as a film town, kind of next to LA and New York. The Paramount hosts South by Southwest every year, which is kind of where the big premieres happen.
Sure.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jordan Peele's Us. And we also have our own summer classic film series every summer. We screen about 125 films, 100 films. And we just celebrated our 51st year of that series. And we've cultivated a pretty large film following. And about 4 years ago, we kept getting the reoccurring question of we need more horror movies, especially during October, because our film series ends usually at the beginning of September. People kept asking for it. I'm a big horror movie lover. The co-founder of Panic, Stephen Janice, our director of film programming, obviously a huge horror fan. And so it kind of sprung from Austin's a very busy time during October, maybe probably everywhere as well. With ACL, Austin City Limits happening, and F1, it's hard sometimes to book against those dates. And so around 4 years ago, we kind of saw that we had some holes, and we're like, film is relatively easy to produce, and less lift, no agents to deal with, no tours or ad mats or anything. And so how could we plug these in?
Some dates.
Yeah, it's kind of grown from there. We have our own cult following, and yeah, in its fourth year now, and just keeps getting bigger. Love it.
Do you get to help kind of curate some of that lineup of films each year? Or, I saw just from looking through the website, like, some of them are presented by different people in the community, whether it's someone involved with the original films, like actors or directors or something, has that kind of become, I guess more involved in a good way each year where, you're getting more and more people involved in these actual projects?
For sure. And I think that's kind of us just saying, what else can we do? What else can we do? When it first started off, it was definitely what our favorite movies are that we think our audience would like. And
Yeah.
we have a very pretty big open discussion with a lot of our film goers too. And we have a good sense, I think, of what people will enjoy because it's mostly what we'd enjoy. But as it's kind of grown and as our goals have changes of how do we make it bigger, we've used our contacts with the tours and stuff like that to try to get in bigger names and kind of help build upon it. So an example of that is Robert Rodriguez, director of Spy Kids, Desperado, Dusk Till Dawn, and everything. He's in
Oh, yeah.
the tour, obviously a very prominent figure in the Austin film community. His studio is here, and he loves to give back. And he's a big fan of the theater, and so it kind of started off inviting him. He's a big horror movie guy, and how can we elevate these events with him, and what insights could he give? And so he presents a movie every year, and then yeah, so like with this year we have 8 films, 6 nights, and Reanimator.
Awesome.
Yeah, the 40th anniversary of Reanimator with Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs, and then
Cool.
David Naughton is coming for An American Werewolf in London, and Claudio Simonetti's Goblin for the 50th anniversary of Deep Red. And so every year we just keep pushing it a little bit more, a little bit more. What could we do to really kind of make these events bigger and bring a new life to it, or death? I don't know.
I am so jealous because I would love to be there for some of these events. I was looking at some of the stuff you guys did for Reanimator. By the way, a great movie that's fun for the whole family, right?
Sure, whatever. My family, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But you guys don't just throw the movie up and then have a Q&A afterwards. It becomes a whole experience.
Yeah, we'd like to. I mean, Robert Rodriguez said it best. He said our movies feel like rock shows, and we love that too.
Oh,
There's a
nice, yeah.
sense of like, I don't know, there's a sense of relief, but it's still a very respectable relief where you're not ruining the experience. But people love to scream out. They love to like cheer for like the villain or even the good guy.
Oh,
And
nice, yeah.
it's a different level to it. Like, so Austin has film fans here. So it's people that really appreciate these movies. And it's people that have seen these movies 100 times that are rewatching it on our big screen, which is incredible. It's super loud, and you find things that you've never noticed before while watching these movies, and it's a whole experience. And yeah, we like to flush it out for our fans as much as we can.
Yeah, more like interactive, almost maybe not to this extreme, but kind of along the vein of like a Rocky Horror or something where people are
Yeah, yeah.
yelling out and cheering and kind of, really, experiencing it more than just your typical movie theater where you're just watching what's on the screen.
Yeah, which also we do Rocky Horror every summer as well. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, again, those people have seen that movie probably literally hundreds of times, but it still sells out at the Paramount, 50 years later,
Of course.
because we kind of encourage that fanatic in them to come out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw on your all's website you also have like merch available for
Yeah.
this series. I mean, it feels like you all really have like fleshed it out in every way. It's not just a let's choose some films and here's what's part of the series, but it's like how do we get people to show up in costumes? How do we how do we brand the series that you're making people proud of it? You're creating like, ad mats essentially, or like art that you're doing each year. There's some really fun and cool designs that I saw on the website. I mean, it definitely feels like this really cool kind of, I don't know, something that you're hoping to build on for many years to come, right? And I guess you have history of that with these long standing film series. Hopefully, 10, 20 years from now you're still doing Panic at the Paramount.
Definitely. And I think to me, the best part about our merch is kind of like the creative expression that gets to come from our staff. It's all made in-house, the
Oh, cool.
designs and everything. And I think a lot of other marketers will also agree. Sometimes your theater itself has its own brand that sometimes
Sure.
you kind of have to stick with. And then when a show comes in, a tour or whatever, you get your ad net. we want it to look like this. There's not always the most artistic freedom, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
stuff like Panic and stuff like Moon Tower, where it's completely owned by us, we can do whatever. And that's where we get to really put our creativity and kind of go crazy with it. And that the fans have definitely responded to that. It sells out every year. As of right now, we're 2 screenings in and we've already sold out most of it. We're having to order more.
Oh
I
my
just I
gosh.
wanted to ask, do you sell it as a series, almost like a Broadway series, right? Or is it something where each event is kind of its own separate ticketed event?
Every event is a ticketed event. We do have a film fan membership that gets you into certain ones, kind of like a package deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, because with also this year we there an elevated experience with cast and crew and bands and stuff like that. That's more of a one-off, and I think that's what the Austin movie goer wants, especially in October, because there's so many dates and a lot of late
Right.
buying crowds that I think that's what we're kind of sticking to right now, and it's working.
And
Yeah.
then what do you guys do? 'Cause I'm asking these questions because I know
Mhm.
that there's people out there listening right now that are running theaters all across the country who are going, "Oh, that's a really good idea." So, like, what do you
Yeah.
guys do? What do you guys do for pricing? How do you structure it? Do you increase price if, say, you've got one of the actors there? Is it really dependent on it? If it's a double feature, how do you guys kind of think through that?
Yeah, so pricing is a pretty standard $15 for any just kind of Paramount Presents film. So that's something that really doesn't have I would say, an additional add-on experience to that. And it also kind of depends on the talent we're bringing in and what fees do we need to cover as well. So
Sure.
something like Reanimator, we brought in Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs. That's going to have a talent fee on top of it. So we
Right.
do need to raise prices a little bit more in order to cover that. But then, stuff when Robert comes, he's very gracious with his time and he does this stuff for free when he presents a film. And so we're able to keep that at that $15
That's
standpoint.
awesome. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is since it
well,
is.
Robert at this point is family. He's premiered all of his movies at the Paramount. We gave him, he's one of our stars now that we have physically in front of the theater.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, Spy Kids had its world premiere. Spy Kids 3D, I think, had its world premiere here, and they built a huge carnival out in front. And
Oh, cool.
I'm a,
yeah,
I'm a
it's,
huge Robert Rodriguez fan. I
oh,
mean, going
yeah.
Oh,
back to the
yeah.
mariachi days, I mean, he's
Oh,
just a
yeah.
very innovative filmmaker, and what he's done for the film scene there in Austin's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible. And he's definitely showed that and kind of given it back to the Paramount, which
It
is
also makes sure too that that series is, approachable for everyone in the community, right? Like, when you
for
raise
sure.
those prices, sure, you probably could raise them and they would do well, but then you are kind of like pricing out some people, right? And when you keep those prices low, it's like anyone is welcome. I think that's a really awesome thing that
Yes.
it just makes it much more inviting and for everyone to be able to come enjoy it.
It makes it more accessible to our community, which is something that, we always work towards, but sometimes when a tour comes in with a high ticket price, we're not always able to do. And the films are a great way to bring them in, but it's also a great way to bring in a younger generation, who
Sure.
we're finding the sweet spot is the movies of people who didn't see movies like when they first came out, obviously in the 80s. And it's the early 2000s where people are getting to experience, films on the big screen that they never got to see.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're putting together your lineup, how do you balance the big films that people know along with the mystery films? Because horror movie fans are very vocal about what they do and they don't like, right? But
Sure.
it's you want to have Halloween, but you also want to be able to do Goblin, right? So it's an interesting mix of stuff that people don't know and stuff that's kind of iconic. How do you balance that?
Yeah. I think it's being a fan first, what doesn't do well. And because we have such a rich history, we know what already doesn't work well. And we look at things like anniversary years and what other theaters are doing. We try to stay away from a lot of like the chains of, if a Regal or AMC is going to be promoting a movie, like we say, what experience could you have at the Paramount? And the Paramount, a little biased, is very gorgeous inside. We're a vaudeville house, so this is how movies were meant to be seen, And
Yeah.
so we also look at films of what can the Paramount elevate as a movie as well. So we did Houseu, which is kind of the crazy Japanese horror film from the 70s. And it's vibrant colors and just illuminating off the walls. It was a gorgeous experience, right? And so it's the finding the balance of what do people want what's something different that maybe they hadn't seen or didn't know that they wanted at the Paramount, and
Right.
how can we also brand that together, which actually works. So our lineup this year is a little random, right? We've done a lot of the big hitters in the past years, and we don't typically like to repeat too much. We like to keep things fresh. And
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of horror movies you
yeah,
don't need to repeat. Yeah,
yeah. And so as like marketers, we were like, we like to try to find an overarching theme, but we didn't have that this year. And so we're
yeah,
like, well, what theme is that? And we're like, mad scientist, right? And so, I mean,
yeah.
that's what a mad scientist does. They put a bunch of stuff together and they make it work. And that's what we
Sure.
did. And so our poster, our kind of main key art this year is like is a kind of like it's like the X-ray skull, and it has film reels inside, and it's projecting our words. And
Yeah,
we
it's cool.
actually, yeah, I love it. And it's actually our graphic designer's actual X-rays of her brain that she got a few weeks ago. And so, yeah, we
That's
turned that into
That's
our
awesome.
art.
That's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, that's
yeah.
really cool. Amazing.
So you've got this series, it's been running for a while now. What surprised you the most? What's one that event that was bigger than you ever anticipated?
I think it's a surprise of how much people actually show up and how excited they really are for a movie they've seen tons of times, It's
Right.
like we did Pearl and X in 35 millimeter, which relatively new movies. So you would think, this was a couple years ago, you would think there's not as much of a demand to watch it. And it was also during Austin City Limits. And so we're like, okay, we're already losing a chunk to that
Right. We're
festival.
competing. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. But we had about 800 people show up,
Yeah.
and it's I think that's the most surprising is how enthusiastic people are, not even for the older stuff, but for the newer stuff, and are willing to come and find parking downtown of all things, which is probably like the biggest factor in people getting here and to celebrate these movies with us. It's incredible.
That's amazing. Now, is there a film that you all have not done that's on your like dream list? I'm sure there's many, but like if you could just pick like the perfect experience, you have the whole cast show up, there's like what is your dream film that like you would just love to book?
Yeah, it for me, it's Scream,
Yeah,
1996, Wes Craven masterpiece.
It is
And
really, yeah.
what hurts the most is I know that can be a reality just because the cast does a lot of stuff like the
sure,
screenings and all the time, but it's just they're so busy that sometimes it's been hard to try to lock them down, especially in October, which is kind of our window.
sure.
That's my, I think, Hail Mary every year.
Just wait enough years and they'll all be looking for opportunities like
Yeah.
that. They'll be
Yeah.
coming to you wanting to do it.
Exactly. And I'm a huge Matthew Lillard fan. Like, I mean, as many celebrities as I've seen and like met coming through the doors of the Paramount is meeting Matthew Lillard on the street one time that like my oh my God moment. And so I've been pushing his career, it feels like for 10, 15 years. And so it's almost like if my demise now he's way too popular to come to the
It's
Paramount or
true.
something.
You've made him
But I
too
think, yeah,
popular. Yeah.
yeah.
I believe in it. I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, thankfully I've done a good job of getting my way at the Paramount by showing like convincing them what movies would do well, and usually they're a
Yeah.
lot of my favorite ones. But yeah, that's the big one.
So I know that the Paramount also has quite a history, almost a reputation as a venue that has some haunts to it. It's maybe some spooky stories. So what can you tell us about the spooky side of the Paramount?
Yeah, I mean, 110 years, it'd be kind of ridiculous if it wasn't haunted, right? So we have two very notable ghosts that I will say, and one you can smell and one that people have seen.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, right? And then I'll also tell
a
you all about a
scented
story.
ghost.
That's a new one for us.
Yeah.
That's our
Like
first scented ghost, Paul.
It
a
smells
scratch and
like
sniff ghost.
grapes. Yeah, exactly.
So we have a man that sits in our left opera box. That we have a photo of when he was alive too. I don't remember his exact name.
Ooh,
I can get it for y'all. But he always had a cigar. And so one thing that a lot of staff members and even myself, you smell just randomly like whiffs of cigar just right in the face. And obviously a no smoking venue, that's not going to be happening on the regular, but that's the smell one, the scratch and sniff ghost, if you will. Um,
yeah.
and then we have the lady in white in our mezzanine. So right next door to the Paramount is the old War Republic of Texas office, and in our alleyway is still the original wall. It's one of the, I think, the oldest walls in Austin.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and so our story is, or what we believe is that she's trying to find her way back over to that office to find information on her missing husband. And it's not just us that have seen it. She's been actually captured on camera. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, from an artist actually. Chad Lawson of the Lore podcast was here a few years ago, and he was doing a tech check on stage by himself with the piano, and he took 3 photos from the stage. And when he looked at it later, clear as day, there's a woman standing in the mezzanine wearing white, and then when you scroll to the other photos, she's kind of fading away into the seats, like turning from the
What?
car. Yeah, it made its way around the press and like news stations and everyone picking it up. And it was crazy, but yeah, those are our 2 main ones. And then I have one that not a lot of people know about. That's only been told to me from our projectionist John Stewart. He's now retired, but he had a story that he was here late one night after a film and pretty high up in the projection booth. And obviously, there's the little window where you can see the stage and
Right.
everything. He said that he looked down there and he saw just like a woman or like a young girl just standing there. Obviously, a little out of the norm for a closed house and, union rules, all that, whatever. And so he calls out to her, ma'am, can I help you? Or like, what are you doing here type of a situation? And she just stood there, apparently just didn't move, didn't react or anything. And so he took the trek down there, 3 flights of stairs, made his way to the stage, and nothing was there. And when he looked back up at the projection booth, she was standing right outside of
No.
it. Just, yeah, yeah,
No.
just staring right back at him. And then never saw her again.
Oh my gosh. It
Yeah.
was actually just a normal human who was
I
who
know, right?
couldn't had bad hearing, couldn't hear, and they
Sorry,
just
what?
swamped each other in the
A
hallway.
very fast, normal human.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was
What
insane.
about the State Theater? I know you all have another one. Is there any fun little spooky stories from the state? Or is it young in its ghost infancy?
I
It
think it
needs
hasn't earned
50
its
more
ghost
years.
yet. Yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't earned its ghost yet. I mean, I'm sure there's something lurking around here. I would not be surprised, but I think it's the legacy of the Paramount. I think that keeps those ghosts in there. But it also ties back into, I mean, the Paramount has its own horror film history as well.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, Toby Hooper, the director of the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Great last name.
Yeah, right. A very Texas film, a very Austin film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His mother actually went into labor with him at the Paramount watching the movie. Yeah,
Wow.
Whoa, that's
yeah.
crazy.
There's a Texas Monthly article all about this if somebody wants to go learn more. But in addition to that, his father owned, or I think believe was the manager of the Congress Theater, which is across from the Paramount or on the same street. And he called our ushers and he called our theaters his babysitter because he would just come over and watch movies all the time. And he said
Oh,
this is
that's
where he
cool.
learned to love movies. And so I love that we have the history part, but we also
That's a
have the
real
horror
tie.
history
Yeah.
part. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, of course, we started off Panic showing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and last year we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which very divisive film, but I love it. But
Yeah.
we always
And
try
then
to pay
three.
tribute. Exactly.
What's the one with McConaughey? Which one's McConaughey in?
Oh, wasn't that it was like Millennium or something? I
Yeah,
don't remember
Next
the exact
Generation or
name. That's what
something.
it
Or
was, Next Gen. Yeah, yeah, with also Renee Zellweger. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes.
Oh my
Also a terrible
gosh.
movie. But one of the things I one of my favorite movie screenings of all time, a local theater here showed a late night screening of Sleepaway Camp.
Oh,
And it was they brought the star of the movie in, it's kind of slumber, but it was a one-off, and a midnight screening, and it is the worst movie that you've ever seen. It is
cult
an
following for
all-time
sure.
Cult
terrible,
following, yeah.
horrible film. And yet it was one of my all-time favorite theater experiences because just like you're describing, people are yelling, they're saying their favorite lines along with the movie and just having a great time. It was just an absolute blast, and I'm really would love to be able to experience what you guys are doing there. Congratulations on a great event that you're putting on.
Yeah, thank you. It's a fun time. It's honestly a dream come true. If somebody said, "Hey, you're going to grow up and get to produce, horror movies and do all like bring monsters in from the local haunted house and everything, you're going to work with Fangoria to like produce special things and cool things." I'm like, pinch me, nightmare come true.
Javier, what's your give us a quick history on you. Was this your first real job in the entertainment industry, working at a theater? How'd you kind of get into the role you're in now?
No, I mean, actually, I started off in horror movies with my first internship. I went to the University of Texas, so I've been in Austin for a while now. And I was an ad major there. And while everyone else was there's a lot of great ad agencies in town, obviously. And while everyone was kind of seeking those internships, I saw one for a movie called Found Footage 3D. And it was being produced by Tim Hinkle, who was the creator of the original Texas Chainsaw. And I was like, I got to do it,
Yeah.
It was an indie film and they were looking for like a marketing assistant at the time. And I was like, done. And so that was, I think, my first intro. It was a very indie film, filmed a little bit outside of Austin, but it did the film festival circuit and I helped them with their social media and their Indiegogo.
Cool.
At the time, Indiegogo's around, but to help raise money for it. And it was like the coolest experience of my life. And I think that was the first like entertainment bug of mine. And then I moved on to the venue side. I did the internships at the Empire Control Room and Garage here, which is still a venue on 7th and Red River. And that was my first, I think, experience with the South by Southwest stuff of it all and kind of the nightly show part. And you get a little addicted to it, It gets the rush of the creativity and the problem solving and all of it. But yeah, and then here I am.
Here you are, living the dream.
Do you ever find yourself in the theater late at night? Everybody else has gone home, and do you ever get creeped out?
Yes, but also I love it,
Yeah.
As somebody who likes creepy things, I mean,
He's calling to the ghosts. He's like, where are you?
Like, I
Whoever was
wish I
up in
had
the
more ghosts.
projection booth, please appear.
I'm like, I hear of other people getting like haunted, and I'm like, why doesn't that happen to me? I'm the one that actually wants it,
That's it. You're wanting it too much. You've got to
Exactly.
pretend like you don't want to see them, and then they'll show themselves.
Please, no ghosts. Nobody bother me tonight.
I would really hate to get haunted tonight.
Literally me. Are you kidding? But I mean, that's also a selling point is like, come watch a horror movie in Austin's only haunted theater, It provides a little look over your shoulder type of aspect. It's great.
That's great. Hey, if somebody listening wants to know more about what you guys are doing or wants to make the trek down there or even reach out to you, throw out any plugs here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our website's going to be a great resource, austintheater.org. You'll find everything about Paramount, Moon Tower, Panic, everything that we have coming up. And then feel free to find me on LinkedIn, Javier Ramirez. My Instagram is the stupidest name ever. It's Javi, like yeehaw. Nobody ever gets it, but I'm on there as well. And so feel free to find me wherever I'm around.
They'll get it.
Hey, thank you so much for making the time for us today. It just sounds like you're doing something you really love there. And I appreciate you sharing your spooky stories with us.
No, thanks, y'all. Thanks for having me.
And a big thanks to everybody for listening to this special detour episode, our Halloween favorites of Adventure in Venueland. If you haven't heard them, go back and hear some of our previous episodes. Also, the one we did with the Red Rocks was great. Paul, what was the other theater? I'm trying to remember the name of that was haunted.
Louisville Palace.
Yes. Oh, so
Yes.
great. And then, of course, the Thriller event that happens in Lexington. You can find them all there in our archives. And remember, you can subscribe and find more episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We do love your 5-star reviews because it helps others find us. Until the next adventure, I'm Dave Rattleberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. We'll see you on the next one. Adventures in Venueland is a side project of the Event and Venue Marketing Conference, a marketing conference that brings together diversified event and venue professionals to cultivate education, collaboration, and innovation for the growing sports and live entertainment industry. Find out more at eventvenuemarketing.com.
Audio editing and mixing by Camille Faulkner.
Design and digital advertising by Megan Ebeck.
Copywriting and publicity by Samantha Marker.
Guest booking and brand strategies by Paul Hooper.
Guest research by Dave Rattleberger.
Marketing strategies by Paul Hooper, Megan Ebeck, and Samantha Marker. Thanks for joining us. Until the next adventure.